question of dissemination. So that could be the dissemination of ICRP dialogues, that could be dissemination of co-expertise process or so on. And in post-accident situations. To be honest, we were confronted to this problem in Belarus, and notably if you check the evolution of the first approach in Olmani, in Ethos it was in Olmani, then progressively in 4 villages of the district, and then we moved to Kor, and trying to progressively embark 5 districts, but then that was not all the district of concern with the contamination. That was not all the villages in the district and so on. So the question of dissemination and how to define the scale of the approach was clearly present since the beginning. And then we try to brainstorm on this question to see what could be the approach, the post-accidental framework, what could be this post-accidental framework, as far as you clearly need to rely on local level, but the combination between local, regional, national, and international. So it's quite complex, because we discussed this morning the question of people being able to understand their own situation, but it's not only to be able to understand their own situation and to take the protective action themselves, it's also to be able to judge the national policy or the regional policy, and to give an advice on that, and to participate to the definition of this policy at the local, regional, national, and even, why not, international level. But then, to do that, it's not so trivial, and you cannot declare that all the people are, you can open the process for all the people and so on. And so this is something which is not so easy. And then, I don't know, we have to investigate some different experience on this type of governance which are developed, and what could be the role of radiation protection. Because clearly, in this dynamics, we clearly see that, for example, one of the key points currently in Fukushima prefecture is the economic development. And then, the economic development, you can take into account the radiological situation, but it's much more broader. And it also have to take into account the history of the prefecture and the future of the Japanese economy or the future of the world economy. And there are strategic decisions to take with regard to that. And what is the role of radiation protection in this business is not so clear. So it's not only to provide the people the capacity to understand the radiological situation, this is one element, but the recovery of Fukushima is beyond that. And so you can imagine processes where radiation protection experts push or help the people to have a clue on the situation, but it's not something which is excluded from a broader view. And so this is something which is not so clear. The other aspect is that this is the point, for example, on the ICRP dialogue, we can imagine that it would have been useful to organize one ICRP dialogue, at least in the 12 municipalities which have been excluded from, or which have been evacuated, but also on Fukushima City on that day. So you have a large number of municipalities where ICRP dialogue could be potentially useful.
No.
Then that means you have to organize maybe 2 or 3 dialogue in each municipality.
Yeah.
That means about 20 municipalities by 3 dialogue.
Right. Yeah.
In practice,
and I mean even beyond that, right? That
there is no the resources in terms of not only financial resources, it's also human resources.
Right. Yeah.
So how to deal with that, and why to focus on some municipality and not the other? There is equity, problem of equity.
But yeah, Date does rather well.
Yeah.
But
and it's clear that with regard to that, this is a crucial question for ICRP, but also we have in mind in which way we can have recovery framework to be ready and to prepare the type of recovery framework. And typically, this issue is at stake because we have no, I don't know, a framework which could be in place to allow to have an accompaniment of the different localities in case of an accident. And currently, we had part of discussion with IRSN on this topic. It's not so trivial.
Yeah.
Because it's largely person dependent. It's
yeah, and I think for me that's always the bigger question mark is about human resources and human connection. Because you can imagine a nation state going in for the idea and putting the money in. That doesn't seem to be the limiting factor. It's a lot about local will and also where do you get the experts from in these kind of numbers.
And the other point that we try to discuss about that, and we had a workshop last November in Nagasaki, because one of the policy for Nagasaki University, they are working in Kawaochi village. I don't know if you have seen some of them. And their idea was to have a model. But in practice, you see that the model doesn't work. And even in areas affected by the catastrophe, there are still competition, and quite normal competition between them, and the people from Hirono or Nara, they don't want to apply the model which has been developed in Kawaochi. So for different reasons. Maybe for historical reasons, because there was competition between the village in the past, or just also because they need to have their own dynamics, and even if the general trend could be the same, but to duplicate, it's not a solution.
Yeah.
So it's why it's a very complex organization, and I'm working on this topic since a long time, and we still we have no magic solution.
Yeah.
And it's why this question of I fully I've seen your comment to ICRP dialogue. This is really one issue in which way